Hi loves, welcome to Discover You podcast. This is a community where you can show up exactly as you are, learn, grow, and discover how to stand in the power of who you want to be. I'm your host Shar. Welcome, and let's dive in and discover you. Hey you guys, welcome back to Discover You podcast, episode 7. Today we're doing an off-the-cuff podcast talking about blessings in disguise. So if you're tuning in on your podcast listening service, whether it's Apple, Spotify, and now on Amazon Music as well, or directly through the Buzzsprout link in my Instagram at @theshar_way, be sure to follow me along over there, you guys. Or if you're watching here over on YouTube, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel down below if you aren't already subscribed. And if you guys are listening to the podcast and you haven't been to the YouTube channel, what are you doing? Head over there. Check out the channel. So generally, I plan out each week of our podcast a different topic, a different thing that's coming up in my life, something I want to share with you guys, or just, a conversation I have with someone that sparks something that I want to share with you. And I've had I have like 2 different topics I'm kind of swirling around with right now, which I haven't quite filmed yet or done a podcast episode on. But today I was kind of, toying with those 2 different options and just wasn't really feeling either of them. And then a specific situation, a hard situation actually hit today, and I felt like it was a good segue into talking about blessings in disguise and how out of loss and pain and grief and sadness, there can be a lot of light and a lot of blessing and good that comes from hard situations. So this can be very, very hard to see in the moments of hardship, but I did want to talk a little bit about what happened today and just sharing with you guys the experience and what's going on, and then we can kind of dive into talking about why there can be good out of bad things. I guess you'd call it the silver lining in a situation. So with all of that said, let's dive into today's episode on the Discover You podcast. All right, so today I did want to share with you guys just a little segue into something that has very personally touched me and has been something that I've been kind of tapped into the last probably 6 months, 8 months. I was lucky to connect with a wonderful person here in Alberta that lives in the same city that I do. And I just happened to follow upon her Instagram and her journey and her message and her fight with cancer. So she is a 26-year-old lady named Shayla, and she has been fighting stage 4 metastatic breast cancer for 2 years. So this is something that really just hit me in the heart center, and someone that I really wanted to support and connect with and, understand more about this journey and what this looks like, and how there's a devastating amount of women who are facing diagnoses every single day for cancers that don't have any treatment. So as a woman, this really hits home. It's very, near and dear to my heart, this cause, and I felt very, very empowered to share her message, to share her journey, to support her in any way that I could. So the sad and unfortunate news that I have today, which I just found out only a couple hours ago, is that she passed away last night due to her cancer. So it's something that's been very hard, and I can feel myself getting emotional, and you probably see the emotion on YouTube. And it's nothing but an honest, real podcast, so we're here, we're talking about it. But it's been a hard day, and this is someone that I don't even know personally, someone that I don't have a personal relationship, but is someone that spoke her truth and empowered other women fighting the same journey and on the same path, and bringing awareness to something that is so forgotten about in our medical system and ignored by a lot of a lot of science and a lot of people that are not actually doing a lot to help the women that are reaching stage 4 cancer when they had early detection and they were able to catch these things early, and it still is not enough. There's not enough and we need more. So I wanted to share a little bit about that, something that I'm very, very passionate about, something I will be continuing to invest my energy and time into. And I do want to either have someone on the podcast to discuss metastatic stage 4 breast cancer or any type of breast cancer. And I do want to bring someone on, whether it's Shayla's wonderful sister or if it is anyone else that wants to reach out or has a story and who can bring more light to this entire journey and what women are experiencing all the time, or a lot of the time, more progressively than ever before. We're seeing statistics of younger women fighting breast cancer. So I really want to educate you guys and bring someone on and we can talk about this. Anyway, that was the situation today, which brought on a lot of fear and a lot of, scarcity and a lot of emotion in just seeing someone with such a beautiful light and someone who stands so strong, even though they're facing the hardest things every single day, to lose somebody. So whether it's, my heart goes out to you if you know this person personally, if you have someone in your life that you've lost, or you have someone experiencing this journey right now. Like the utmost love for you or for anyone that you know. So I had continued on with my day, cried everything out, grieved this loss, and for me, I'm an energetic, emotional person, and I feel so deeply, so I really just wanted to, release that emotion, because it's okay to get it all out. But I was talking to a friend, and they reminded me about the fact that there's something beautiful to look at here, and that is that she's not suffering, and she's not in pain, and she's not hurting every day, which is, yes, so beautiful, but yet also so horrible. As this is going to be an emotional podcast, you guys. Welcome to the emotions, the realness. I'm still feeling this loss and feeling this loss of a wonderful, bright person. So it's very hard, but I did want to bring to light this topic that even though this journey has been horrible for her and she experienced so much pain and so much loss and so much of her life taken away, and now she's lost her life, there's so much beauty in the fact that she's no longer in pain. She's no longer suffering. She's no longer having to deal with the traumas of the treatments and the experiences that she had to face the past couple of years. So there's something really beautiful in seeing her be at peace finally, which allows me to segue into whether it's cancer or whether it's, a freak accident, or whether anything happens where you lose somebody or somebody who's lost their life or something terrible happens. There's something really beautiful about what we learn from these experiences. And we learn that life is sacred. Life is a blessing. Every moment and every day that we wake up is a true gift, because we never know what's around the corner or what's to come tomorrow or what we can expect might be the next thing. We have no idea. We have no control. And if anything, loss teaches us that we are able to enjoy those moments, to really live in and breathe in those moments, to experience all of those feelings. Because if we don't, we just let the time pass by. We just let our lives just zoom away on us. And before you know it, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years passes, and you're like, what did I do with my life? Did I live it? Did I enjoy it? You kind of, it flies by in the blink of an eye. And I've always been a true believer that without any loss, there would be no love in the world. There would be no compassion for people. If we were invincible like vampires where we couldn't die, would there be compassion for humans? Would there be love and compassion for each other or understanding of each other? And without any suffering, there'd be no moments of joy and no moments to be like, this is great, and no appreciation for the life that we have. So it is horrible to see people go and to lose people, but it's also a great reminder and a great lesson that we have to live right now. We have to live for the moments that we have now. We have to live in the present moment of our life and to grasp all opportunities, especially for the people that are no longer here, that can't reach for those options and can't fight for those opportunities or reach for them. I think that there's something really truthful about being, whatever you want to call it, fate, purpose, higher, higher self, God, spirit, whatever. I think that there is something so gravely beautiful about the fact that we are all here for a set amount of time. And I'm a huge believer in fate. I feel like our life is fated. I feel like when it's your time to go, it's your time to go, and that will happen no matter what you do, whether you try to navigate around it or to avoid it or to pivot away from it. I feel like it's just, you have almost like if you have like numbers above your head, like we all have like an expiry date. I've always believed that. I've always truly felt that. We're all here for a purpose, for a reason, for a season, whatever the time frame is. We're here to do something, to bring light, to share, to heal, to help, to parent, to whatever. Like there's always a reason. And I truly believe that that is the nature of life. I remember seeing a movie way back in like the 2000s. I think it was called Time Machine, where his girlfriend or fiance, whatever she is, she dies in, I remember like there was like 3 scenarios. So it happens and she's in the park, and then the robber comes and the robber shoots her and she dies in his arms. So then he goes to the time machine, goes back in time to repeat the scenario or like the time frame, and then they go to a different area, and then she gets run over by the horse and carriage. So like he tries to do it a couple of times, and then like the fate is still the same, the outcome still is the same. And if you resonate with that, or if you don't, it doesn't really matter. But I've always kind of just felt that there's an expiry date. We are here for only a certain amount of time, and the kinder and more compassionate and more loving and aware and present that we can be as humans for ourselves, let alone not just for us, but for other people, I think the more beautifully abundant life we can live. And I know like Tony Robbins is a huge inspiration of mine. He always says that happiness comes from helping other people, from bringing more to other people, from service, from serving people. That is what true richness and greatness is how can you serve better? How can you show up better? How can you be better for the people that you're serving? So it's, however you want to slice it or take it, or whatever your belief system might be. But I think that when we live presently in our lives, we reach for the moments of our life, and we choose to live in a space where we are helping other people and serving other people and giving more. I think that that creates a better collective, a better community where we are here helping each other. Because at the end of the day, we're a collective, and we are linked energetically, emotionally. What happens to one really does happen to all, in a sense, if you exclude personal circumstances or situations. But this kind of leads me back into like that whole, awareness around breast cancer and what I feel passionate about. Some people have other passions, other things they've experienced, whether it's different illnesses or disease, or MS or Alzheimer's or different cancers. There's always a reason why someone wants to support something. And I really feel drawn to this, being a woman, being someone who likes to empower people to step into their power and their truth, and exactly what this podcast is stepping into your power and speaking your voice and living your best and happiest life, is all encompassed on being empowered in the steps you take to help other people as well. So this is something that I want to bring more awareness to. I want to understand more about. It's something that hits very close to my heart. I feel very, very empowered to share this story and to talk more about this in the future, I hope. But I really just wanted to hop on here and, kind of do an off the cuff podcast, just sharing how life can be really beautiful, and looking at those silver linings of things. Like, bad things happen every day, and, someone cuts you off on the road, or you have a shitty day at work, or someone pisses you off, or someone makes you feel bad, or, you fight with your spouse or your parent or whatever. I truly feel that all of those things that are really hard have a reason and have a purpose in our life. We need to focus more on finding a silver lining of why something exists, or why an obstacle is put in place, and why it's in front of us. What are we being asked to learn? What are we being asked to understand? What are we being shown to see? Uh, how can you react differently to that circumstance at your job? Or how can you respond differently on the road when someone cuts you off? How can you be kinder to that person? Because, yeah, maybe you're having a shitty day, but maybe their day is way worse. Maybe they just lost somebody. Maybe they just found out they have a diagnosis, or maybe they're just not as aware and awakened as you might be, or tuning into themselves, that they don't understand how to do that. So how can you be the person that can take the higher road, or the more supportive road in the collective, to heal people and to help people heal? I often, have moments where I can be, angry or bitchy or moody or pissed off about something, and then I catch myself in those moments and go, okay, well, I was just like really like shitty to that person, or they were really shitty to me. And then I think about it and go, okay, like what are they experiencing? Like, what's happening in their day? Um, how can you pause in the moment and notice how you respond, and see if you can respond with more kindness or more lightness? Because we're all hustling and bustling through the day, through our life, and we're just literally like hamsters on a wheel sometimes. We get so caught up in the stuff, so caught up in the day, so caught up in the moment, that like we forget that we're humans with emotions who feel stuff and actually have baggage and shit happening behind the scenes. It's like that whole like go to work and leave your personal stuff at the door. It's like, how the fuck do you do that? You can't leave your personal shit at the door. It's like the shit's still in my body, it's still in my brain, it's still in my heart, and it's still in my friggin' everywhere. So it's like, how can you even, I just never understand that statement. I'm just like, it doesn't make any friggin' sense. It's like we're literally just here existing in this like work-life balance that they so-called want us to have, but we're all dealing with something. We're all, struggling in some way. And I think that the real message of today is to notice that there is a blessing and there is a message and a purpose in all of the things that are thrown in front of us. Every time you have a hard situation, every time there's a challenge in front of you, every time there's a scary situation, we are being called to stand in our power, to be more kind, to be more compassionate to other humans, and to stand up for what we believe in, what we feel, and to think about others instead of just being in our own circumstance, because everyone is living a different reality. And we can't understand that if we don't take a moment to pause and to take in that reality, to understand what their reality might be. So I think that is where I'll leave the podcast today. I just wanted to do a little impromptu hop on and just talk about how you can find a little bit of silver lining and beauty in the things that are happening and what you might be experiencing right now, especially with the past, 20 months we've had. It's a time where it's like, okay, there's a lot to unpack here and a lot to look at. A lot of things are being put in front of us, obstacles and horrible things. And how are we going to respond? How are we going to show up for each other and for ourselves? So I will leave you with that message for today. Thank you for being here, sharing space, holding space for me and my story about my friend Shayla, and sending so much love to her family in this time and for her loved ones, and knowing that she's here watching over us. And I send you guys all of the amazing love and feels for whatever challenge or circumstance you might be facing right now. Know that you are not alone in any of that, and that there's a lesson and a beautiful silver lining in disguise. So have an amazing rest of your week, you guys. I will see you on next week's episode of Discover You Podcast. Be sure to follow along the podcast wherever you're listening. Go subscribe over on YouTube and check out any other videos there. And of course, follow me over on social media where we can connect and hang out. Thanks so much, you guys. Take care.